I am delighted beyond measure to introduce you to one of the most extraordinary beings I've ever had the chance to get to know, to love, to joke with sarcasm, to be light, to be dark, and his name is Austin May. And Austin was introduced to me at the end of last year by one of my best friends, and she's like, "Lynn, I got to introduce you to this guy." I went to this conference, the Maverick Mastermind in North Carolina in October, and I met him. And she's like, "You just have to meet him." And I'm like, "Okay, Suzanne, whatever. I'm really busy. Like, I haven't got time for your whatever." Suzanne is brilliant in the world of business. She's brilliant in the world of politics and all that kind of stuff. But uh, she wasn't very spiritual. So I'm like, "All right, who's this? Like, are you trying to, hook me up on a date?" I had no idea what was going on here. And then I see a picture of Austin, and I'm like, "God looks really young." So we were supposed to get together in December. And for some reason, Austin was busy that day. So we rescheduled for January. And finally, on January 25th, I'm like, "Austin, is this you?" And I friended him on Facebook. And I'm like, "Oh, he's got a wife and kids. What is this about?" Suzanne's always like, "You need a man." I'm like, "No, I don't. I have a cat. I'm good. Really, I'm good." So we finally have this meeting. And I've cleared 2 hours in my schedule. And we get on Zoom. And Austin's in front of me on Zoom, and I'm freaking out because I'm like, that's Yeshua's energy, because I channel Jesus, one of the 22 ascended beings that I channel. And I'm like, how is this possible? Like, I could hardly breathe. I'm like, I gotta go. We'll have to reschedule this another time. But Austin and I began this texting conversation, and we've literally spoken to each other every single day since January 25th. And then he innocently says to me a few weeks back, "Have you ever been to Utah?" Because he lives in Utah, Mormon country. And I'm like, "No, Utah's cold. New York is cold, but Utah's got to be colder." And then I had another dear friend who said, "You haven't come and visited us in Idaho in 30 years. And I'm like, "You're right." I said, "By the way, how close is Idaho to Utah?" "Salt Lake City." And he goes, "3 hours." And I'm like, "Oh." Then Lynn and her precious husband, Stefan, happened to be going where? To Salt Lake City, Utah. Why? Because she just had a second grandbaby. And I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reasons. And then one of my other best girlfriends that I met Suzanne through, Elizabeth, goes, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm going to Utah." And she goes, "I'm going to Utah." She's like, "When are you going to be there?" So the second weekend I was there, oh my God, Deborah Passardi is just joining. The second weekend I was there, Elizabeth came into town with her husband. So I now had like 7 of the most incredible reasons to go to Utah. So I go into silence every Friday for Shabbat. I start at sunset on Friday and I'm in silence till sunset on Saturday. So my schedule messes with everything, every form of socializing you could imagine, right? So I land in Utah. I get a rental car. I drive like the Dickens to the hotel so I can make it on time. Thank God Utah went into sunset later than New York. I mean, the timing, this is like when you know the spirit is with you. So I get to the hotel, I go into silence. I say to Austin, "I'll see you tomorrow." And where are we going on Saturday when I come out of silence? To his mother's birthday party. So now I'm going to meet his mom, 7 of his brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews, his wife, his children. So we meet at a supermarket. Like, you can't make this stuff up. We meet outside of the supermarket called Smith's. And we just like recognized each other, not only because we've seen each other on Zoom, but there was just like this like soul connection. We give each other a hug. His daughter Azalea was with us. We went in, we bought plants and balloons and cards for his mom. Then we went to meet his family, and it was literally like they said, "Well, how did you meet Austin?" And there's this huge picture of Jesus in in his mother's house, and he's sitting underneath the picture. And I said, "Well, I got introduced to Austin because when Suzanne introduced us, this is what she said. She said, 'Lynn, this is Austin. Austin, this is Lynn. Lynn channels Jesus. Austin is Jesus.'" And I'm like, but then like, you can't deny the energy. Your mind can tell you a million different things, but the heart never lies. And my heart was, so I go, "Jesus," I got a direct line to him. I go, "Jesus, what's the deal?" And he goes, "All of us are trees. The oversoul is the trunk of the tree. There's the roots that go down, and that's your connection to earthly mother. And then there's the limbs, and then the branches, and then the leaves." And he said, "Austin is a leaf. Austin is an aspect of me incarnate on earth." He just turned 33. He's ready for his coming out. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, but so we did this video the other day, threw it up on YouTube, threw it up on Facebook, threw it up on TikTok, and they're snarky on TikTok. TikTok's like, you're not Jesus. And I said, of course he's not Jesus. He's an aspect of Jesus. But the wisdom that comes out of this man's mouth, the love and the energy. He did this science experiment with 14 of us, and a bunch of people that are here participated in it. Hi, Deborah. I love you. Hi, Sergey. Hi, Yoke. So he took our pictures, and 3 times a day, he beamed love to us. He's an embodiment of a Christed being in a snarky 33-year-old body. He's got the humor that Jesus has. Like, Jesus has a humor like you can't believe. And, he looks a little bit like him. I don't know if you can see it, but he's got these crazy blue eyes too. Anyway, so I go to Utah and we start planning. His wife calls us Pinky in the Brain because we're plotting to like take over the world with love. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Pinky in the Brain, but there were these 2 lab rats. They say one is a genius, the other is insane. And I think we kind of like switch out who's the genius and who's insane in any particular conversation. So I want to introduce you all to Austin May. Austin says that when he says I am, it's his initials, Austin May. I thought that was really cute. But Austin is a remarkable being. I had some sciatica that was kicking up. I laid down on the bed. He literally put his hands on the back of me and pulled the energy out. That's the stuff I do when Jesus enters me and we lay our hands on people. So he has that ability too. Anyway, we are going on a journey this year with these 3 extraordinary masterminds, a journey of mastery. And then we're taking people on this incredible chakra world tour where we're going to be going to 8 different locations, physical energy centers of where the chakras are located on planet Earth. And we'll give you all the details for that later. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Austin May. Austin, please.
Hey, everybody. I'm Austin May. It's nice to see all of you beautiful beings here with us. And I'm excited to share with you what we are creating with everything that we're working on with the masterminds and the chakra world tour to not only open and activate the energetic body within us, but to create this etheric entanglement with our beautiful earthly mother, as well as we travel about the world and connect with her on a deeper level, letting her know that we wish to be more present with her and her with us, which is what a lot of that is about for me.
Could you talk about one of the things that I said to Austin? I was really emotional about something, and he said to me, oh, I mastered my emotions when I was 12. And I'm like, of course you did. Shut up. He's unflappable. So could you talk about what that journey was like for you, the crazy circumstances you lived in and how it forced you to go within, to be in silence and all that, that magic of yours?
Yeah. So when I was 12 years old, I got arrested for defending myself, and I got thrown in juvie for it, and then put on house arrest and court ordered to go live with my father, who had just gotten into a relationship with a woman who was selling meth for the cartel. And so there was a lot of drugs involved there. And from that experience, people that are on meth, they're not very attentive to kids or anything really in that manner. So I spent a lot of time by myself. I wasn't able to leave. I didn't have anything to do. There was no TV. I didn't have games or anything. And so I found myself just sitting in my room in silence, and just I started to drift off into the space between me and the wall, and in between any kind of sounds that would come about. And from that, I learned how to kind of fall into the ether and start to see and communicate with spirits, and learn how they were coming in and out, and how to see like the singularities, like how everything has a toroidal field around it. And I started to learn and observe all of this, and I was doing this in complete silence, and for like, I mean, it's probably 2.5 years. I was just like, I really just kept to myself. I didn't really talk, and I held a specific meditative state that allowed me to fall into that place. I've held it ever since then, and I've never really left. And so, um, I'm always kind of like halfway here and halfway there, if that makes any kind of sense. But yeah, it was a beautiful experience for me to just kind of be left alone with no distraction, so I could just be in nothingness and learn of the vastness and the power of what we would call nothingness, which is actually everything.
I said to Austin one day, on a scale of 0 to 10, at what level would you consider your psychic abilities are? And I literally heard 100, and then he wrote back and he said 10, and I said, really? I said, I heard 100, and he's like, I was going to say 100, and I'm like, don't be coy around me, Mister. So I said, okay, I'm going to ask you again, on a scale of 1 to 100, at what level are your psychic abilities? And he just literally wrote an infinity symbol. So, would you talk about what happens when you're driving and you look over and you see somebody? Because he's got clairsentience, clairaudience, claircognizance, clairvoyance. And then there were two other clairs, clairgusto, which is being able to taste what is not in your mouth, and clairalliance, which is just being able to smell what is not in your immediate vicinity. Like when my grandmother shows up, I smell roses because she loved roses. When my stepfather shows up, I smell cigarettes because he loves to smoke cigarettes. Do any of you have any of those? Have you ever had that experience of like, you're like, what's that smell? And it's not in your vicinity. I love that. I love that. Nina, Laurel, yes. So that means that your clairs, those clairs are open for you. So Austin, will you talk? Because this cracks me up. Will you talk about like when you're driving and you see somebody and what
Yeah.
happens?
It's just kind of weird. Like, I don't know if I could be in the car and windows are up, be at a stoplight or something, and I'll look over at the person, and if I accidentally like feel into their field, I'll get like the smell. And actually, what the minute I get a smell, I also get a taste. The taste comes with it, and I can smell and taste them. It's just kind of weird. I don't know. It's really powerful. And
So note to self, bathe before you meet him, please.
something like that.
I just,
No.
so one of the things that Austin and I are going to do in this year, I'm so excited. I think I'm going to start vomiting. We're going to take people through 3 different masterminds. Mastery of the clairs, which is about bringing you to the most incredible sense of presence that you've ever had. And what we're going to do is over 3 months, we're going to meet 9 times, and we're going to take you on the deepest dive into mastery of your clairs, opening them, cracking them wide open. The two of us are going to be leading these classes together, leading this mastermind together. So it's going to be March, April, and May. And then for June, July, and August, we're going to go into mastering the chakras. Austin, you want to talk a bit about the chakras and the energy of the chakra centers in the body and the ones off the body?
Well, my viewpoint and the way I talk about them is much different than the norm. I really kind of just talk about um the way I always see into it. I talk about it in like basically three specific PowerPoints of them, and that's with the heart being the neutrality zone. And the way that the way that it comes through to me is like whatever you're experiencing beneath the heart is usually like earthly, materialistic, the fear, shame, guilt, all of those kinds of things, and everything above that's the more you're becoming more spiritually aware and present with your higher self. And the way like healing comes through is or like when we're in a place of needing healing, it's like as the energy comes down through our body and as it tries to rise back up, our heart actually creates this kind of a veil, and it'll bounce the energy right back down the minute it hits it. And so if you need healing, you're kind of like in ancient times, they would talk about your heart becoming hardened. That's because the energy doesn't penetrate back up through to go all the way back up and then all the way back down. And so it comes up halfway, meets your heart, and it creates this like vibration at that level. And so getting into spaces of gratitude, becoming like finding those places in life, things that bring up that emotion within you, to it'll kind of soften that veil and allow the energy to start rising back up. And so as you start to feel more emotion, that's where all of the healing takes place, is through the heart. It's kind of like the way I talk about it, it's like kind of putting a car in neutral. You can push it forward or backwards either way because it's neutral. But if it's in gear, it's locked into place and it won't budge. And then you can't really get anywhere. And so um, it's about, for me, it's about getting into a space of love, because love is it's much more than what most think it is. It's not like just this ooey gooey little mushy like emotion that we have. It's the tone of creation. It's the original tone of creation. And so when we get into that vibration, we then are that essence within us, and then that essence surrounds us, and then everything that we become in contact with, it starts to like, it's kind of like one candle lighting another candle lighting another candle, and it creates this effect, and how one energetic field will start to manipulate and influence another. And so um for me, it's just about getting people into a deeper state of love and gratitude. And the more of us that we can get into this state at once, the more we'll create a massive wave outward into the collective of humanity, to create a faster shift for everyone, and help us get into this newer way of living that people have been waiting for so long.
Thank you. So we're going to spend another 9 weeks going through the chakras and helping us to completely open that. What I was shown by Yeshua is that the root corresponds to the crown, the solar corresponds to the third eye, and the sacral corresponds to the third eye, and the solar plexus corresponds to the throat. And when you can get those in balance, it unlocks the heart, and the heart can stay open. So we've all had experiences of our hearts being opened, right? But do you notice that the heart tends to close back down again? It doesn't stay open. When you begin to have mastery over each of the lower three chakras, you're going to engage the heart, and the heart's going to be able to stay open. And that is the experience of being a Christed being. Does that make sense? Okay. So then the third mastermind that we're going to do is mastering the Akash. So for those of you who have ever heard of the Akashic records, it's the realm or the dimension where all memories of all of our incarnations, everything we've said, everything that we've thought, and everything that we've done are recorded. And one of the things that Yeshua had said is that it's a malleable field. It's living and it's breathing and it's changing as we do. So it's going to be a journey into mastery. It's another 9 weeks. So you could take any one of these individually. You could take all three together. And we have a special offer for anybody that is here today. We have some special coupons to offer you for a beautiful deep discount, like an early bird discount on that. Then the thing that we're really, really excited about is in December, we're taking people on the first of 8 retreats to Hawaii. We're going to the Earth. Is it the Earth Heart, Austin? The Earth Heart chakra is in Kauai.
So isn't it Maui, or is it Kauai?
No, it's Maui. Sorry,
So Maui
Maui.
is like the heart of Hawaii, and Hawaii is known as a point of origin for souls, for spirit. And so when we start there at the heart, it's like a part of the Earth Star,
Earth
the
Star.
Earth Star
That's
chakra.
it.
Um, and there's probably a couple. I mean, there's more than one, but that's one of the original ones. And so we're going to start there because it helps to create a natural openness to igniting the process of what we're doing. for the following year and everything.
So then it goes. So, and then what we're going to do in 2025 is take people to the 7 chakra locations. I'm just writing them down. The 7 chakra locations around the world. And here was a really, really cool thing that happened. So we're going through and we're looking at these maps, and it's me and Wendy and Austin and Alicia. And we're talking about throat, third eye. Okay. We're talking about where the ley lines are on Earth. And we realized that the first root chakra is in Mount Shasta. And Wendy and I had done a retreat back there in 2018, and it's crazy the energy of Mount Shasta. The sacral chakra is in Lake Titicaca in Peru, and Austin's been there. The solar plexus is in Uluru in Australia. And we have an incredible guide that's going to help us there. His name is Jeremy Donovan. He's half Aboriginal, half white, and is a master of the didgeridoo and a flute. And he's going to be our guide for Uluru in Australia. The heart chakra is located in Glastonbury. And when you went to look for where the throat was, it's at the pyramids of Giza. And Austin's been there. I've been there. When we got to the third eye, it said unknown. And everything that we looked at said the third eye is unknown. So I turned to Austin and I'm like, all right, show us what you got. Where is the third eye? And what did you tell us?
I said it is in India, somewhere in India. That's all I knew.
Right. So guess whose bones are buried in Kashmir, India? Yeshua ben Joseph. So I had just done a program. A bunch of us did a program. Raymond, I think, was part of that program, where one of the people in our community, her name is Valerie, had said, and it's this gorgeous picture that I have in my phone of Yeshua. After he went with Magdalene to the south of France and he recovered, and after Magdalene died, he went to India and he lived until almost 100, and that's where his bones are buried, and it's hidden because that part of history is hidden. I said to Magdalene and Yeshua one time, why don't you guys ever talk about the children? And they said if people knew that we had children, they would try to hunt them down and get the bones and do DNA processing. So the third eye is in Kashmir, India. The crown is Mount Kailash in Tibet. And then the soul star, which is the 8th chakra. Guess where that one's located? Anybody? Anybody want to take a guess at that? It's located in Antarctica. What's the one country that nobody flies over? What's the one country that nobody can visit? They have this tiny little peninsula that they let visitors come to, but there's something there. And I had just recently seen this video of this woman who said she knew how to remote view. And so Wendy's going to teach a class on remote viewing, because what we're going to do is, as a collective, we're going to remote view into Antarctica together. So if you've ever wanted to learn to remote view, I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. But we're going to remote view in there. So she remote views in there, and she got chased out. And she said she had to go into hiding in the world because they were like coming at her like, you're not allowed here. Like, anyway. So that's a whole other event that we're going to be doing from the end of this year into next year. And there's a package for, again, like if you want to buy and just come on one of those trips, there's a pricing for that. If you want to come on the whole trip with us, there's a discount pricing for that. So I'm just thrilled. Austin, anything you want to say about those retreats? We're calling it the Chakra World Tour. We're going to be doing healing work, helping beloved Gaia when we go to these locations. Anything you want to say about that, Lovey?
I would just say that it is a more than a once in a lifetime opportunity. Just because of the spiritual work. I mean, anybody can go to them, of course, but the work that'll be done within and around you while doing so, um, it's a much more than a once in a lifetime opportunity. And even going to the Hawaii one and getting activated in a certain way there, um, there's a beautiful activation that I do that it clears the energetic body. It clears the spirit from the beginning of your creation to the very end. Um and I fine tune the beingness into the present moment within solidifying the three major points of the power points of your energetic body, which is like it comes all back to a specific colors, which is burgundy, then there's indigo and teal. And when those three lights become stabilized in your being, you will kind of fall into this all of these, like your DNA will start to shift and you'll start to move into a deeper aspect of Christ consciousness. And I mean, it's not to say you'll stay there forever, because we always have free will, we always have choice. But I can do a lot of work to assist you into getting there and kind of like opening the door and everything. I mean, I can never make anybody step through, and I can't tell you everything that you're going to see, but I can absolutely present the door and open it. And so I'm going to be doing that in Hawaii for everybody as a Kickstarter for anybody that wants to start there and continue with us as well.
So the Hawaii experience in December is going to be 8 days. We're starting on the 13th and going until the 20th. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And what we're going to do is the first day will be the preparation of everything. And then each day is going to be, we're going to start at the root, go to the sacral. So you're going to be given red glasses so that you can feel the energy of the red ray. You're going to be given t-shirts. Austin was downloaded with these gorgeous designs for the 7 chakras within the physical body. And we're having t-shirts made. So you're going to be given red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, black, white, and is it magenta? A series of 10 t-shirts, according to your size. And if you get thinner as you go, we can swap out shirts. And when you wear that energy, you're going to have red food and red drinks on the root day. It's everything to enhance and to open up those chakras in preparation for the work that we're doing. So this isn't just about you and the healing for yourself, but if this is about a sense of you coming and doing the healing that's going to happen at each of those locations. And as we travel, we're going to be traveling along the ley lines of Earth. And it's just going to be a really magnificent journey. I'm thrilled and excited. And if you're drawn to it, come join us because it's going to be a heck of a trip. So I want to open up the platform for Q&A. If anybody would like to ask questions, Austin, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself, my love, and ask him anything. He's pretty good at this stuff.
I have a question.
Matiko. So Austin, this is Matiko. Matiko, this is Austin.
How's it going, brother?
Thank you, and peace and love to all of you. I call you Divine Harmonics. So Adamus Saint Germain was giving love 2.0. He called it the love 2.0. Is Christ, Jesus Christ planted the seed. So we are manifesting. So I just want to ask him, love is life, omnipresent, vital, vibrational, eternal energy. If he has any principles about the vibration and frequency of love.
It's a little.
I don't quite understand what your question is, my love. Could you put it in one sentence?
Yeah.
Matiko?
Yesterday, I saw Saint Germain announce about Jesus. He called it Love 2.0. That means the new era where Jesus planted the seed. And he was talking about the energetics. If you can teach us about that.
The energy of love.
Yes.
Yeah, so the energy of love is it's the precise center of the entire universe. It's a singularity in which all things come from and all things return. And so when we come into a state of love, it's not just the emotion that we express towards others, but It's a light that we emanate from every cell in our being. It's a vibration that comes off of us that transmutes darkness into light, into everything that we come in contact with, everywhere that we go. It helps our Mother Earth. It helps all of our brothers and sisters. It helps all of everything, all the animals. I mean, when you emanate this vibration, because it's the original tone in which life was created from, then you are giving off the spark of life itself, and it creates senses of healing and wonder and miraculous things to take place. I don't really use the word miracles because I mean miracles are just things that we're not so familiar with, but we're experiencing, like, but everything is possible. And when you come into this energy, it brings a sense of childlike wonder and play, and a really deeper sense of curiosity and a willingness to actually take curious actions with the things that come through. Because as kids with their imagination, you got 50 kids on a playground playing astronauts and stuff. There's not a doubt in their mind that they're not astronauts. Like, they are astronauts, and there's no convincing them otherwise. Like, they are experiencing it, they're feeling it. And it's about getting back into that imaginative state, because it's not, our imagination is not make believe. It's our creative window in which we create in the heavens, up in our head, up in the heavens, to then manifest here into the physical plane. And we've been programmed out of that as little kids by all the adults, because there's like a sinister plan to get us away and out of touch from all of that. And so bringing that back, using our creative window, seeing what we wish to manifest, and having the curiosity to take the actions with the simple information that comes through, which is in fact the information that comes through just before you start thinking. Because everybody experiences, they'll get like something that pops through, and they're like, huh, wow, I wonder if I should do that. But then your mind starts rambling, and you're like, it's in my head. And so you don't end up following through with whatever it was that popped through. But that's your direct link with spirit. And kids are very fine-tuned in that. And so really getting us back into that sense of pureness, which is aside, it's before our thinking starts. And that's where all of that love comes through. That's where it channels through. That's where the pureness of our essence comes through. And when we can learn to observe life through that initial response, then you'll always be in a line of channeling, and people will always become present to you that need to be in your life, or you'll always be everywhere you need to be, right when you need to be there. If that makes sense.
Thank you so much. I love it.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Christina wrote in a question, Lynn, in the
I know,
chat.
I saw. So Kat, I want to introduce you to one more person. Her name is Priyanka. Priyanka is my chief operating officer. She started as a virtual assistant with me 3.5, almost 4 years ago. She has seen me at my best and at my worst, and loves me anyway. You gotta love people who love you when they've like experienced the alpha to the omega with you, right? And she is a genius. She is a queen of manifestation. And through God's good grace, I'm actually going to get to meet her. She's coming to, Deborah, I hope you can join us. She's coming to Huntington, the town that I happen to live in and grew up in. She's coming in April, and I'm going to get a chance to hug her and probably not let go. I was negotiating with Danielle, her one of her business partners. They're doing this retreat together about when I could monopolize Priyanka. And she's like, well, we'll have to keep having this conversation. Anyway, so Priyanka is here, and she's going to drop a link for the information about the masterminds. Christina just asked about the link for the December retreat, and another woman who works with us, Kat, is still in the process of putting that together. But if you guys have interest, give me your names, and I'll make sure that, I think you registered, you put your emails in. Give me your names, and as soon as we have all of that up and running, I will make sure that we get that emailed out to you. It'll, there'll be an announcement. However you guys found us to be here today, the announcement will come out with the details about that. So for sure, we'll get that to you.
I'm seeing a question
Oh yeah.
asking
Okay.
about
So
the upper heart chakra.
So let me just do one more thing. Alicia, Priyanka just dropped the link for the masterminds. There's a code that you can put in, it's TAMM, which stands for Transformational Alchemy Mastermind. If you have any interest in participating, the mastermind, this 3-month mastermind, is priced at $4,444. But with you guys participating here today, the discount code drops it to $3,333, which is phenomenal for what's going to be brought through in those 3 months. If you would like to purchase the whole package was priced at $12,222, but there's a huge discount on that, and that's TAMM2. So Priyanka dropped those codes underneath. And then the retreats, if you come on all 8 retreats with us, it's $88,888. If you want to do an individual retreat, it's $12,222. These are going to be luxury retreats, like an experience that'll blow your mind. And there's going to be big discounts on those as well for those of you that have attended. So you guys will get an email with all those details. So if that's something that you want to participate in, let us know. It's going to be pretty remarkable. Okay, there's a question. Go ahead, Austin.
I'm not really sure it's a little vague for me, but it says, what is the upper heart chakra, the thymus gland, and oxytocin connection, please? What comes through for me is in that area. So actually, between the heart and the throat, where those two come together, it creates the color teal. And that's actually the color of Christ consciousness. It's when love is in spoken motion. It's when you're speaking divine love into the world. And if you're experiencing any disconnect in this area, it's generally because you're not speaking what is in your heart. And so I would get in touch deeper with what is in your heart and what you are feeling, and start to speak what it is that is in your heart, and don't hold it back, which will create that connection, which it'll create that to clear up, and oxytocin, all that good stuff, whatever, all the chemicals will start to flood freely. And something that'll help with that at the same time is wearing the color teal, which will that'll help a lot too.
So Austin, I just got this message from them, and they said he's calling it teal, but we've told you it's turquoise. So I came to Austin, and there's a couple things that I said that I hated. I said I hated beets, I said I hated carrots, and I said I hated turquoise. And he's like, well, you're going to have to learn to love those things. So turquoise, yes, the thyroid would be included in that. So literally the higher heart chakra, as they call it. Hold on, my necklace is caught on my top. It's the thymus gland. It's like between the throat chakra and the heart chakra. It's right here. And the color that I was taught that it is turquoise, but it's that same teal color, like the chakra drawings that you had, Austin, is that color. So I had this what I thought was a turquoise necklace forever, and I hated this thing. I disdained turquoise. I didn't know why. So I brought it to Austin because he was looking for it. He's like, oh my God. As soon as he put it on, would you describe what happened and why it is that we now wear cotton?
Well, I felt like I got a weird sense of feeling like, kind of when I wear polyester or something, it creates an almost immediate static field around my body that's really uncomfortable. Right when I put it on, I kind of had a weird feeling like that, like something. I mean, you have a lot of nerves all your nerves, like they run up through your neck, and so when I put it on, I felt something really off and weird, and I wasn't sure what it was, but it turned out to be probably the dye that was in the stones that were created to be dyed like turquoise.
They were howlite. He's like, there's something white. So you know how howlite is white and black? So the stones were literally dyed to look like turquoise. So then he tried wrapping it around his wrist, and that didn't work either. So we got rid of that, and now we've got him this. Did it come yet?
Talk about that later.
Okay. All right. Aw. Anyway, so there's a necklace that's on its way to him somewhere in the ethers that's turquoise. So that's that same representation of the thyroid, the thalamus, right here in the higher chest bone. So that makes sense. Okay. Yes, Deborah. Yes. Yes, yes. So Austin, there's someone else I want to introduce you to. And her name is Deborah Rapisardi, and she's here with us. And Deborah and I got to know each other. Deb, will you unmute for a moment, love? Deborah and I got to know each other. She lives here on Long Island. One of the things that we found out as we did our journey through the Akashic Records was that both she and I had been sisters of Yeshua during that incarnation. And she too carries an aspect of him like a leaf. She's an extraordinary woman, a creative life force, one of the most loving people that I know. And I am delighted that she's here because I've really wanted the two of you to meet. So, Deborah, is there anything that you wanted to say to Austin, babe?
Welcome to the community, Austin. Welcome to our world.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's coming in June to be
Beautiful
ordained.
place.
He's coming to be
With Reverend
ordained.
Dan?
Yeah.
Yay!
So you'll have to come up and out for
I
that.
definitely will.
And Nina, you'll have to come too. Nina's another one who's here on the island. So just a couple more things I want to say is that there's a gentleman by the name of Reverend Dan Chesborough who was awakened in the middle of the night over 35 years ago. And there was a being standing at the foot of his bed. And he said, "Who are you?" And the being said, "I am Melchizedek. It's time to call the priests." And Reverend Dan, and then the being disappeared, and Reverend Dan kind of fainted and went back to sleep. And he's like, "I don't know what that was." And then this woman showed up at his door a couple of weeks later, and she said, "I was told to come and be ordained into the order of Melchizedek by you." And he was like, "What the heck?" So he looked up in the Bible, and it said that Melchizedek came, and he did not have a mother, he did not have a father. He was the one who said to Avram, "You will be Abraham and the leader of three nations." He said to Sarai, "You will be Sarah and you will give birth." And they were in their 90s. And it's another aspect of Jesus was this Melchizedek Melchizedek incarnation. So I said to Austin grew up as a Mormon in Utah. And I said, "Are you interested in being ordained into the order of Melchizedek?" And he had a real pushback. So Austin, you want to tell that story? Because that's fascinating.
Yeah, so the LDS Church is one of the places that ordains people into the Melchizedek priesthood. And I was actually always guided away from everything to do with religion growing up. I kind of just had to be a part of it under the roof of my parents. But as I was asked to be ordained into the Melchizedek priesthood, I always got this answer: no, there's nobody there that's worthy enough to be able to ordain you into this. And so to stay away from it, and that there will be a person later in your life. They never gave me a time. They just said it would be somebody who received the ordinances directly from Melchizedek himself, and that is who you will get it from. And so when she asked me, I'd push back because I've avoided this my whole life, waiting for an individual who received it directly from Melchizedek himself, who I'm learning is Reverend Dan.
So Reverend Dan is coming June 30th, Sunday, June 30th. If you've ever had a desire, if Melchizedek is tapping on your shoulder, he comes, he's here from noon till 5. He's this gorgeous, larger than life man. He usually wears a bright orange shirt or white shirt when he does these ordinations. He's ordained over 17,000 people in 35 years. And it's happening here. Laurel flew in from Western Canada, and she was ordained earlier this year. Nina has been ordained. Deborah has been ordained. Austin's about to be ordained. And Reverend Dan is he's such a blessing. So if you guys are interested in that, let us know. What else? Oh, Austin's going to be teaching a class. Austin, I think you've changed the name a few times, so I don't want to get it wrong. What are you calling it now? Oh,
Give
wait.
me 1 second. My laptop's about to die. I'm gonna switch over to my phone really quick.
Do you not have a plug?
I don't near me.
Okay. At first, it was going to be something like awakening the Christ consciousness within, and everybody had that. And then it was going to be something like awakening the I am within. But then he just came up with another name, and it's going to be, I think it's a 6 or 8 week course in which he's going to teach people how to do the love emanation that he does. He's got a whole bunch of stuff that he's going to be teaching on it. But there you are. Hi.
Here I am.
Here you are.
Yeah, so just like remembering or awakening the I am within. And it's just it's a 6-week course that will lead you through a series of practices to hold you into that state, because it's a very accountable state. And it's not easy. It does take a lot of work, but you know, that's truly what people are actually looking for within what they call enlightenment. Not realizing that everything in life is in fact enlightenment. It's this I am state that people generally look for, which is the equivalent of Christ consciousness. But I'm calling it the I am because it's the more neutral term for it that doesn't have a lot of stigma behind it. And so yeah, I'll be teaching that. The sixth week will be like an hour of Q&A and different things like that, just to see where everybody's at and if there's any more questions. And but the first 5 weeks will be a various set of practices to initiate yourself into as a constant throughout the day, throughout the week. And yeah, it's part of the process of discovering that you are the light.
So there's a question. Would you please be able to share how you learned of your connection to Jesus?
Yeah, so my earliest memory was I was actually in this heavenly white realm next to a pillar of divine unconditional love, which is the conscious core of the universe, which is God. And I was standing next to this being, and I was observing the world, and humanity as a collective had reached a specific point where like the collective of humanity was asking for Christ, and they were asking for love and understanding. And so I was asked to incarnate here, and that's my earliest memory. And then I enfolded into the singularity of life and came here. And so I've always known. I've never studied under anybody. I've never read spiritual literature before. I've just kept my connection pure, divine, as it is, as it always has been. Every time I've ever come, I'm an original soul, I guess, if you will, if we would call it something like that. So I've always known. I've always known. That's the only answer I can really give.
When I first learned about the Order of Melchizedek, there's a friend of ours, Charlie Tedesco, was talking about how he had been ordained into that order. And I almost fell off the chair because I got this like Shakti pot download of claircognizant wisdom that said, this is the order that Jesus was ordained into, because he was of the bloodline of David and not Aaron. And every priest, Catholic, Christian, Mormon, Baptist, Episcopal, every single one of them is ordained into the Order of Melchizedek, and they have no idea why. So I went to my priest after I learned this from Reverend Dan, and I said, were you ordained into the Order of Melchizedek? And he said, yes, why? And I said, so am I. I said, I am a priestess. And I've said to Reverend Dan, can I call myself a priestess? And he goes, you can. So the day I was being ordained, we drove up to Reverend Dan's property, myself and my business partner, James, at the time. And I burst into tears as soon as we hit the perimeter of his property. And James is like, why are you crying? I said, I have no idea. And as soon as I walked in and I saw Reverend Dan, like I just took this huge sigh of relief. And Reverend Dan said that the minute he saw me, he thought, oh, there she is. And I started having these memories. Reverend Dan is an aspect of Abraham, the patriarch. And he's just like the love that comes off of this man. You know, Deborah, Laurel, Nina, they can all attest to this because they've had the experience of being ordained and being in his presence. He's just this huge bundle of love and like the best storyteller ever. And he looked at me and he said, if you lived here, we'd be friends. I said, oh, we're friends. So over 100 people have been ordained here in my mom's home. And, you know, we're not done. We're going to do two ordinations this year, the one in June, and then we'll do another one later in the year. But you can always come back. You can always come. I've had people fly, you know, I think Laurel was the furthest. Laurel came from Western Canada to be here.
Is that a calling, Lynn, to go?
Yeah, you get called, exactly. Like Laurel, she just knew, and I was like, okay. And I have another business partner that I work with. Her name is Wendy. Wendy was one day she was like, Metatron told me I need to come get ordained. So if you know, you know. I want to take Reverend Dan to Europe because there's a lot of people that I love in Europe but we'll see. Maybe he'll come on one of the retreats with us. Alice, did that answer your question? Hi, sweet yolk. It's good to see you, my love. I'm sure it's the middle of the night for you.
Hi, yeah, thank you so much. In India at the moment, so it's yeah, late in the evening.
Aw. Well, thank you for being here. Anybody else have any more questions?
As far as the course goes itself, when is it going to be? Like what day, what time?
It's going to be on Tuesdays. And my gosh, do we have the day? Is it Tuesdays or is it Wednesdays?
March 20th.
Okay. So February, March 20th. Oh, it's going to be on Wednesdays. It's going to be on Wednesdays, and hold on one second. And it's going to be at, oh boy, it's going to be at 2 p.m. It's going to be Wednesdays at 2 p.m.
I could ask a question of Austin.
Yeah.
Hi, Austin. As we've been welcomed before, I also join in welcoming you. Kind of curious what has drawn you to our community at Soul Master University that Lynn has put together.
Well, I'm always right where I need to be when I need to be there. And so that is why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always, literally my whole life I'm everywhere I need to be, right when I need to be there. I've always been divinely guided everywhere I need to be. And I've never had to go out and find the people that are supposed to be in my life. It always comes to me, and this came to me. And so here I am.
Thank you.
You're welcome. He was told there was someone was coming, and here I am. And I just want to say thank you to everybody in this community that has been contributing to this journey that Austin and I are on together. Hi, Io. Hello, my love. I want to introduce you to someone that's really, really precious to me. This is Io Gospodinova, and she lives in Bulgaria. She is my personal coach, and she is extraordinary. So, Io, who's here is Austin, who I've talked about, and then Priyanka, and everybody else, this gorgeous community of people that I love dearly. And anyway, so I want to thank everybody for being here. You will get emails from us with all the links and all the codes and all the dates and all the times. I'm sorry that we weren't more prepared. We literally whipped this thing together very, very quickly. But I want to thank all of you that came and attended. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the acceptance. This has blown my mind. I'm no longer teaching. I'm no longer going to be teaching the classes individually. I'm going on this mastermind journey, and then the journeys around the world. So there's a couple people that are here that are in the last class that I'm teaching. Deborah's here. And now have two amazing students. Diana, thank you for being here from Austria. I now have two amazing students who have just graduated from my year-long teaching curriculum, which I'm also not going to be teaching anymore. Their names are Penny and Terry, and they're going to be taking over teaching what I call the Quantum Akashic Transformation course. It's an 8-week course, and you learn some of the most extraordinary tools to be able to navigate your journey as a spiritual being. So I thank you all so much for being here.
Lynn, there was a question from Deborah. She was asking which course is going to be taught on March 20th. So if you could just repeat that again.
Okay, sure. So we're starting, the first mastermind is mastering the clairs, and it's going to be a really deep dive into opening up all of their tools that you're going to learn. And some of you may have already learned some of them, but it's going to be a deeper dive into the mastery of fully opening your clairs. So when I first started teaching this, I had a measurement tool. I would say on a scale of 0 to 10, what is your claircognizance, clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and people would give a number. And then we had to go up to 100, and then we went to 1,000, and then we went to 10,000. And this is about being able to, like Austin with Austin's presence, being able to have it be infinity, where you can see, you can hear, you can know, you can feel, you can smell, and you can taste, even if you don't want to. Having your clairs wide open. And that's the journey that we're going to take people on. And it's a 3-month journey. We're going to meet 9 times, 3 times each month. And that starts on March 20th. And Priyanka just dropped the link. Oh, someone's calling me. Sorry. So I thank you. If you have any further questions, you can find us on Facebook. Austin just started a new group. It's called I Am the Light. You can find his group on Facebook. He opened it up yesterday. I think he's got already 50 or 60 people in there. You can always find me and everything that I'm up to, all of my shenanigans, at Soma Life Quantum Living Experience Group. And I just thank you all so very much for being here with us, for being live, and for bringing your presence and your love. I love you all. Austin, any final words?
Nope, just thanks to all of you for showing up. I appreciate you, and love to you all, and may peace be with you.
Much love, everyone. We'll see you all soon. Bye.